here with Pauline, and we're on the road to Sydney. Found this little wayside stop. Nice place to have lunch and look at the Word of God. And today Pauline will tell a story out of 2 Kings chapter 4 about the widow's oil. And it's a great story that talks about God's provision and His miraculous powers. And just let Pauline tell the story to us.
2 Kings chapter 4. The wife of a man from the company of the prophets cried out to Elisha, "Your servant, my husband, is dead, and you know that he revered the Lord. But now his creditor is coming to take my 2 boys as his slaves." Elisha replied to her, "How can I help you? Tell me, what do you have in your house?" "Your servant has nothing there at all," she said, "except a small jar of olive oil." Elisha said, "Go around and ask all your neighbours for empty jars. Don't ask for just a few. Then go inside and shut the door behind you and your sons. Pour oil into all the jars, and as each is filled, put it aside." She left him, shut the door behind her and her sons. They brought the jars to her and she kept pouring. When all the jars were full, she said to her son, "Bring me another one." But he replied, "There is not a jar left." Then the oil stopped flowing. She went and told the man of God, and he said, "Go and sell the oil and pay your debts. You and your sons can live on what is left."
Well, there's an amazing story of God's provision for His people. Here is this widow, lost a husband who owed some money, and his creditors were coming to claim the debt to be paid. And she was going to lose her son. They were going to take her 2 sons as slaves to pay off the debt. So she goes to Elisha and says, "What shall I do?" And he says, "We'll let God fix it. You just gather all the jars you can and go and shut the door with your sons and pour the oil that you have into the jars, and His provision will provide for you." And so she filled many jars with oil, which she was later able to sell. And she also had money left over. But what it tells us is this: that God looks after His own. That's number 1. He responds to people who ask for help. She asked for help from the prophet Elisha, and then he performed a miracle, allowed the oil to keep flowing until she had enough to sell to pay off the debt. And that's the same for us today. If you're one of God's children, He will look after you. And sometimes it will be a miracle the way God looks after you. And He's done that for us all of our lives. He's provided for us. We've never wanted for anything. We've always had food on the table. And here we are, 75 years of age, and we were travelling with the caravan down to visit a daughter in Newcastle. God has provided for us. And we don't know how it happened, but it's always been the case because we love Him. He supplies all of our needs according to His riches in glory. So there's a little story from 2 Kings chapter 4. You'll get a lot of benefit if you'll just get into that Word and let the Word of God get into you. It'll inspire you and bless you. So there you are on the road to Newcastle today. Have a great day. Get into the Word. Let the Word of God get into you. See you later.